Suburbs. Perfect little houses in neat rows. Freshly cut grass. Porch lights that flick on just as the sun dips behind the rooftops. We think they're safe. Predictable. The kind of place where nothing bad happens. Or so we tell ourselves. But safety can be a trick. It's the hedges hiding the neighbor who lingers at his upstairs window a little too long. It's the fence that blocks your view of the family who never turns off their basement light. It's the quiet when no one asks questions, because they'd rather not know the answers. Behind every driveway, every flower bed, every friendly wave, there's something hidden. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's something you wish you'd never found out. Tonight, we're not going to an old mansion on a hill or an abandoned motel far away. We're staying right here, on quiet streets lined with mailboxes and street lamps, where the air smells like sprinklers and barbecue smoke, where you feel safe enough to walk at night, but still find yourself looking over your shoulder. If you listen closely, you might hear it. A faint noise inside a wall. The slow creak of a gate opening. These aren't ghost stories. They're real. 3 stories. 3 neighborhoods. And the things that live inside them. Low, pulsing bass fades in under the sound of cicadas. It was late October, the kind of night where the air bites at your skin and you can see your breath. Mark and his wife, Ellie, had been in their neighborhood for 4 years. It was one of those picture-perfect suburban communities. Cul-de-sacs, matching mailboxes, walking trails winding between rows of houses. Ellie liked to walk after dinner. It helped her relax. She'd put on her headphones, pull on a hoodie, and make a loop around the block. Mark never worried. This was the kind of place where kids left their bikes out overnight, and some people still kept a spare key under the doormat. But that night, something felt wrong. It started with footsteps. Ellie was halfway through her walk when she noticed them. Steady, slow, just a few steps behind her. She slowed down. The footsteps slowed. She sped up. They sped up. She looked back. A man in a blue hoodie, hood pulled tight, hands in his pockets. She couldn't see his face, but she knew. He was staring at her. She told herself it was nothing, just someone heading the same way. She turned down a side street toward home. He turned too. By the time she reached the driveway, her chest was tight and her hands were shaking. She locked the door and laughed it off when she told Mark. He offered to walk with her next time. She said she'd be fine. The next night, she stayed in. Mark went instead. 3 streets over, he saw him, standing under a streetlight, perfectly still. Blue hoodie, hands in pockets, staring straight ahead. Mark slowed, pretending to check his phone. When he looked up again, the man was gone. Over the next week, neighbors started talking about him. Always at night. Always just far enough away that you couldn't make out his face. Then one night, Ellie woke at 3 a.m. to the sound of gravel crunching. She went to the window and froze. The man in the blue hoodie was standing in their driveway. Not moving, just staring at the house. Mark called the police. They searched the street. Found nothing. The next morning, something was in their mailbox. A single Polaroid. It was Ellie, walking, headphones in, taken from behind. They never saw him again. But to this day, even in broad daylight, Ellie still glances over her shoulder when she walks. Every neighborhood has that one house. The one no one ever sees anyone go into. The one kids dare each other to touch on Halloween. For Jamie, it was the white 2-story at the very end of Willow Lane. The yard was a mess. Weeds curling over the walkway. Curtains always pulled tight. It had been for sale for years, but nobody ever moved in. Jamie was 13 when she and her best friend, Tara, decided to check it out. It was a hot Saturday afternoon in July. Cicadas buzzing in the trees. Sun beating down. They crossed the yard, careful not to step on the tall, patchy grass, and peered through a front window. The inside was completely empty. No furniture, no boxes, no sign of life. Just bare wooden floors and sunlight spilling in through the blinds. Tara was about to say they should leave when Jamie went completely still. There was someone inside. A man, standing at the top of the staircase. Tall, thin, his skin so pale it almost looked gray. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He just stared. The girls screamed and bolted, not stopping until they were safe inside Jamie's house. Her mom called the police. By the time officers checked the place, it was locked up. Empty. For weeks after, every time Jamie passed that house, she swore she saw that pale face in the upstairs window. And then, one night, she woke to find her bedroom window wide open, the summer air drifting in, and in the corner of the room, a single muddy footprint. Lisa and her husband had just bought their first home, a beige one-story ranch with a fenced backyard and a huge oak tree in the middle, the kind of place they'd talked about for years. The woman who owned it before was older. She was moving into assisted living, and at closing, she handed Lisa the keys. Before she left, she said one strange thing. "You'll want to keep that back gate locked at night." Lisa figured it was just one of those quirky, overly cautious things older people say. She didn't think about it again. Not until their third night in the house. She was doing dishes, looking out at the yard, when she saw it. Movement. A shadow gliding past the edge of the oak tree. Too big to be a cat or raccoon. Too quick to be someone just walking through. She called for her husband. They went out together, checked the yard. Nothing. The next morning, she noticed footprints in the dirt near the oak tree. Bare footprints. Kept happening. Every couple of nights. Soft footsteps. The faint creak of the gate. Once, Lisa swore she saw someone crouched at the base of the tree, but when she ran to get her husband, the yard was empty again. They decided to set up a camera. The footage was grainy, but clear enough to see. A man, stepping through the gate just after 2 a.m., walking to the oak tree and standing there, looking up at their bedroom window. He stayed for nearly 10 minutes before walking back out. The police never found him, but Lisa keeps the gate padlocked now, and sometimes late at night, she hears the chain rattle. And she remembers the old woman's voice. "You'll want to keep that back gate locked at night." The suburbs promise comfort, security, normalcy, but sometimes the very things that make a neighborhood feel safe, the fences, the quiet streets, the friendly smiles, are the same things that make it the perfect place to hide. Mark and Ellie learned that danger can follow you home, even when you think you're just taking a walk. Jamie learned that empty houses aren't always empty. And Lisa learned that sometimes the warnings people give you aren't paranoia. They're experience. The truth is, no place is truly safe. Not the woods, not the city, and not the suburbs. Because when danger comes for you, it doesn't care how nice your lawn looks. It doesn't care how high your fence is. It doesn't care if your neighbors are watching. Sometimes, it's the person watching you. From the sidewalk, from the window, from the other side of the fence. And if you live in a quiet neighborhood, one where nothing bad ever happens, maybe that's just because no one has told the story yet. Music fades to silence.